All right, I just wanted to record a short video to help take you through this week's lesson and give you some ideas about the order we can get things accomplished in and some purposes behind why we're doing what we're doing. So first we look at this. This is the week we're going to start working on a personal narrative essay, and this is you're going to relate a story. It's similar to this, I believe, except it's more related to an experience and not just a belief. But the structure for this assignment will be set up like the structure for your persuasive essay, in that you will have this week to start working on an outline. You'll have a rough draft due by next Wednesday, and then the following Saturday is when you will have your final draft due. So this week we're going to look at the personal essay and understanding what that personal narrative essay is, some guidelines and pitfalls for pronoun usage, and then brainstorming and planning your personal essay. So over the next few weeks, we're going to have that 2 to 3 page personal narrative essay. A few things to keep in mind. One, no matter what you think, I promise you that having an outline and a pre-writing plan will make writing the paper easier and will keep it organized. 2, make sure you understand the elements of the assignment. If it is 2 to 3 pages, that means no less than 2, not almost 2, not pretty close to 2, no less than 2. That is the minimum. You want to keep that as close to not going over 3 as possible. A lot of times students get the idea that if it's a 3-page paper and I write a 6-page paper, it's that much better. And that just means on the other end, you're not able to stay within the parameters of the assignment. So when we talk about length requirements, it's staying within more than 2 and less than and up to 3. So this week we're going to have the pre-writing and planning, and then it's due in week 12. In week 12 is when you'll have the final essay due. So just make sure you're going through the assignments and the lessons. It is important, at least for the discussion, that you go through the videos and the assignments. I have noticed in the discussions that some posters are not aware that I have read them and that I do understand the videos and the concepts, and so double speak or talking around it or hoping that you've made it sound like you've read something you haven't read is not lost on me. It's not lost on your classmates that have read it. So make sure you do know, you have looked at the things and the papers and the different essays and videos before you post on the discussion board. So you have some of the grammar lesson videos, you have your pathway gathering. That's just an overview of what we're looking at. So first, in your grammar lessons, you're going to get to review a few things. We're going to look at pronouns again. If you have any questions about that, I really love talking about grammar, so that works out really well for me. But make sure you complete those. When you get to the reading and discussion, it is important that you've done the reading before you post to the discussion. As I said, it is obvious when you have not. So even if I've let that pass. Again, with the discussion board, as I made in the announcement last week, please pay attention to the parameters. As you go in and you report, it is somewhat on the honor system, and you put your points in for that. It does say, did you meet the minimum? Not just did you get it done by Wednesday, but did you write a substantive post of at least 150 words or what the parameters are for that, and that your responses are more than just good idea, good post. Those are not point worthy. That does not meet that. The question, even in your report at the end, says 50 to 75 words. If you mark yes and it wasn't 50 to 75 words, that is inaccurate, and so I have changed some of those. If you had questions about that, I encourage you to re-evaluate the discussion post requirements and make sure that you're meeting those. For the writing lesson, they're going to talk, it's a video for the elements of the personal essay. Please look at that personal essay video and the personal narrative, because it will give you an idea that this isn't just an essay or an idea of what you think, that there is a structure for how we tell these stories, and that it is important that you know that, because learning how to structure our writing is why we're taking this class in preparation for that college level writing class. So make sure you look at those as well. And then this assignment, you have pre-writing due this week. So this week you're going to have either an outline or a paragraph summary of your essay, but you should hit those main points and not just, I have a general idea of what I sort of want to write about. It should be organized in an outline format. Even if it's a paragraph going over it, the paragraph should meet an outline format as well. And then this week for your pathway gathering, make sure that you bring 3 copies of your outline to the gathering on Thursday. for that, because you're going to have feedback. You're going to have opportunity to get information from your classmates and from your instructors there as well. So this week, you'll have these questions I have listed here. Make sure you check this out, some directions before you go there, some ideas of what you need to keep in mind, how important it is that you are clear with the parameters of the assignment and the rubric, and understanding how to be a critical reader and how to be helpful in being a peer editor and a peer reader as well. So sometimes we get a little overly nice. There's no reason to be overly critical or rude. You don't have to find fault, but when we're trying too hard to be nice, we sometimes overlook that it would be more helpful to tell people where the flaws are, because if you catch them and they can fix them, they don't lose points. So it is more helpful to do that as well. And then make sure you have everything with your speaking partner, and that you get your attendance and your weekly report in, and make sure that you are accurate in that weekly report. So a little bit of something that I wanted to go over with why we do this, why we have this assignment. I like to look at Elder Eyring's talk that he gave in October of 2007, where he talks about remember, and he starts to tell, as you can see here, that when his children were very small, he started to write down a few things every day. And then he starts to explain why he started to do that. And there was a story where his father-in-law was helping them at their home, and as he walked toward the house, he had in his mind, he heard the words, and he says, not in my own voice, these words: I am not giving you these experiences for yourself. Write them down. So he talks about how he went inside and he didn't go to bed, but he started to write. And even though he didn't understand why to begin with, as he started to write, he understood why. And that he was recording for his children, for the future, the lessons of these things, the blessings that God had given his family. And the idea that in this particular instance, that Grandpa didn't have to do that, but he was serving his family in the way that covenant disciples of Jesus Christ always do. And then he writes, and so I wrote it down so that my children could have the memory someday when they would need it. And he goes on to talk about writing it down, and writing these things down and the things we learn in our life, and keeping our story helps us to see where the Lord has blessed us and helps us to remember it. And I know for myself in my life that as I have kept a journal and written things down, that I've had to learn lessons fewer times when you have lessons that you've learned or blessings that you've received. And sometimes through hard things, as we write those down, the memory of that lesson is more permanent, and it's less likely we have to learn it again. So that's just kind of a thought on why we do this. And I would encourage you, if you choose, to comment on our Things That Matter Most discussion about that and how we feel about keeping that. So that's a little bit of tour through our assignments, what we need to do this week. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to reading your work.